Hi, Adam. Welcome. Can you put this into context for us? How big is the child influencer business? How much are these kids and their families making? And is that number continuing to go up?
Yeah, we've seen year over year growth in the digital influencer space, specifically in advertising dollars. I would say that kids and family is definitely one of the growing categories that we've kept an eye on, and that you're seeing more and more success and growth on all of the platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and now TikTok too.
And would you describe it as a huge business comparatively to the other types of talent you manage, or simply a growing business?
It's a big business. I mean, we're talking into the seven figures and growing. And depending on the size of the family and their audience and their regularity of content and the deals that they're doing, there's big opportunity there. Everything from brand integrations to merch to now touring, appearances, licensing, publishing, and more.
So it's everywhere. So, Adam, how is managing a child influencer different, if at all, from managing more traditional talent such as child actors?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are children talent in the traditional world. I think in this space, they're independent creators. So they are creating their own audience by producing content. So we try and nurture them as creatives, and we focus on the business side of it so that they don't have to concern themselves with that. And we work closely with the families, their parents, and the kids themselves. I think the most important part is about establishing a relationship with the child talent.
Right. And so, Adam, why then are brands choosing to partner with child influencers to market products as opposed to other more traditional methods such as commercials?
Well, that's where the eyeballs are. I mean, more and more, from my own personal experience, my 8-year-old nephew and 12-year-old niece, they're not turning on cable television, they're watching YouTube. And I think being able to provide brand integrations and advertising where the eyeballs are makes sense. And it's a matter of doing it right, obviously. And the kids themselves, that's where they're spending time watching content, and that's where they're discovering new opportunities and personalities, etc.
All right, now your company does represent at least one influencer family in total. So are there any ethical decisions or extra precautions you have to make when it comes to working with children and their families in this capacity?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we're working with families and children, it's a matter of properly setting it up. So we do have Coogan accounts that we set up in partnership with the parents and our accounting and business managers, and then following COPA guidelines as well as on-set guidelines, making sure that there's a guardian at all times and having an on-set teacher when it's applicable.
So I'm glad that you brought up the Coogan law there, because some of our viewers may not be aware of what that is, but that's a law that designates a certain amount of a child star's earnings for when they enter adulthood. Is that law then applicable to child influencers as well?
Oh, absolutely. I think anytime you're earning revenue as a minor, it's a matter of making sure that you're setting it up for your future. And the parents are obviously heavily invested in the growth of their children's business. It is very much a family business, just as if you were, a Disney or Nickelodeon star, you just happen to be earning your revenue on digital platforms like YouTube. So it's important to make sure that we set it up right and that the talent themselves, the children, are taken care of.
Your website lists work-life balance as a focus area. It writes, quote, "There is no formula, and we believe balancing work and life is a constant recalibration." So what exactly does the company mean by that, and how does it come into play in practice?
Absolutely. I think creator burnout has been a big conversation the last year plus. And what that means is these talent, whether they're minors or not, are putting themselves out there 24/7 to these audiences. So being able to step back and really create a boundary. What is my on-air personality? What am I putting out there to the public? And then what am I keeping for myself? Do I need to take a vacation, some downtime? And we really work with our clients closely to make sure that they're finding that balance and that they're setting time aside to make sure they're taking care of themselves mentally, physically, etc. I think what some people fail to understand is these are creators who are jack of all trades. They have to write, direct, produce, star in every piece of content that they put out there. In some cases, our talent have built out teams where they'll have support, whether it's an editor, a shooter, a producer, but for the most part, it's on them to be generating original content, and that's overwhelming. So it's really a matter of setting some consistency to it, really just putting a routine in place. So if I'm doing one video a week, I can schedule out my week to make sure that I'm building in a balance of personal time and work time.
Do you ever see or have concerns that, especially among the preteen set, that they're over-sexualizing themselves or going beyond what would be sort of healthy in order to simply get more people to look at their accounts?
Not in my personal experience. I'm sure it does exist because, again, there is a deep sea of creators out there. We actually call our company Select Management Group for a reason, because we're select in who we work with. And it's about identifying talent that are invested in what they're doing and excited to be doing it. So if there ever became a point where it was unhealthy, we would sit with the talent and their parents and make sure that there was a clear path to find that balance.
But outside of your company, do you see that happening?
I would say it exists. I haven't personally seen or experienced, but I'm sure with some of these family channels and some kids, it exists.
All right. Well, Adam Westcott, we thank you so much for joining us and sharing with us your expertise in this fascinating and growing field. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me.